You sat through 12 years of school, math, history, English, the periodic table, how to identify a prepositional phrase, the causes of World War I. Nobody taught you this. Nobody taught you what money actually is, how it actually moves, or why some people seem to generate it almost automatically while you're doing everything right and still checking your balance on a Sunday night with that specific feeling already in your chest before the screen loads. Not broke, not irresponsible, just never as far ahead as the math should allow. There's a reason for that. Not the reason people usually give you. Not discipline, not lattes, not avocado toast. A real reason, a structural one. The people who have real money, not the people performing it, the people who actually have it, are operating on a different set of rules than the ones you were handed. Not secret rules, not unfair rules, just rules nobody bothered to explain. This is what they know. Secret 1. Income is not the score. You think the goal is to earn more. That's what you were taught. Work hard, get the raise, move up, make more. That's the whole model. Earn more, have more. Simple math. Except it doesn't work that way. You know this because you've watched it not work. You've had the raise, maybe more than one, and 6 months later you're in the same place you were before, just with slightly nicer things surrounding you. The raise didn't fix it. The raise never fixes it. Here's what rich people know that you weren't taught. Income is not the score. Net worth is the score. Income is the water coming in. Net worth is how much is actually in the tank. And you can have water pouring in every 2 weeks and still have nothing in the tank if the drain is open wide enough. There's a guy at your office. Call him Marcus. Marcus makes $94,000 a year. You know this not because he told you, but because of the car he drives, the building he lives in, the way he talks about the weekend. Marcus looks like money. Marcus presents like money. Marcus has $4,200 in savings. You make $67,000 a year. You drive the car you bought used 3 years ago. You have $23,000 across a 401k and a Roth IRA that you opened 18 months ago because someone mentioned it and you figured it was time. From the outside, Marcus is winning. But income is not the score. Net worth is the score. And the score doesn't care what the car looks like. Currently, more than a third of Americans earning over $75,000 a year have less than $1,000 in savings. That's not a character flaw. That's what happens when you optimize for the wrong metric your entire life. You were taught to earn more. Nobody taught you to keep more. That's the first thing rich people know that you weren't. Secret 2. The wealthy buy options. Everyone else buys things. Here's how you were taught to think about money. You earn it. You spend it on your life. If there's something left, you save it. Savings is the goal. Having money in the bank means you're doing it right. That's the model. Earn, spend, save. Here's how wealthy people actually think about money. Every dollar is a decision about optionality, not a decision about what to buy. A decision about what future choices this dollar keeps open or closes forever. You're 26, you get your first real paycheck. Direct deposit, $3,200 after taxes. It's a Thursday. You've been waiting for this. You've earned this, and the apartment you're in is fine, but it's not great. And the 1-2 buildings over has a gym and a rooftop, and you've walked past it twice this week and run the math, and it's $380 more a month, which feels like a lot, but also doesn't because you just got a real salary and you've been in this cramped place for 18 months and you deserve better. So you move. And you don't think about it as a decision about optionality. You think about it as a reward, which it is. You just don't realize what it costs. $380 more a month is $4,560 a year. $4,560 a year into an S&P 500 index fund at a 7% average annual return for 10 years is $63,000. That gym you used 4 times. That rooftop you went to twice in the summer. That's what they cost, not in any single month. Compounded forward. Rich people make this calculation automatically, not because they're cheap, because they see what money is. Money is not purchasing power. Money is future options. The apartment isn't $380 more a month. It's a closed door somewhere 10 years from now that you won't even remember closing. Currently, the average American between 25 and 34 saves less than 5% of their income. Not because they don't want to build wealth, because nobody taught them that every spending decision is actually a decision about future options. You weren't taught that. That's the second thing. Secret 3. The tax code is written for owners, not workers. This one takes a while to understand because the surface version of it sounds like a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's just math. If you work a job, you pay income tax on every dollar you earn before you see it. Federal takes its cut, state takes its cut, FICA takes its cut. You don't get to decide. It happens before the money reaches you. You work, you earn, the government gets paid first. That's the worker model. Here's the owner model. You own a business or an asset that produces income. That asset has expenses. You deduct the expenses from the income before tax. You only pay tax on what's left. And the things that benefit your life, the car you use partly for business, the home office, the phone, the travel, these become expenses, which means they happen before tax. $1 of tax-deductible expense at a 28% marginal rate actually cost you 72 cents. Workers pay with after-tax dollars. Owners often pay with pre-tax dollars. That difference, compounded across an entire career, is one of the primary mechanisms by which wealth concentrates where it does. There's also the capital gains rate. If you earn $100,000 from working, you might pay 32% on the top portion in federal income tax. If you earn $100,000 from an investment you've held for more than a year, you pay 15%. Same $100,000. Different activity, almost half the tax rate. The tax code is not neutral. It was written by people who own things, for people who own things, not because of corruption. Because that was the frame of reference in the room when the decisions were made. The Roth IRA you opened 18 months ago, the 401k at your job. These are the doors the tax code left open for workers. Tax-free growth on the Roth. Tax-deferred contributions on the 401k. Most people walk past these doors every single year without going through them. Currently, only about 1 in 3 eligible workers contribute to a Roth IRA. Not because it's complicated, because nobody explained what was on the other side. That's the third thing. Secret 4, your network is your net worth, literally. This one sounds like a motivational poster. It's not, it's access. When you have $50,000 to invest, your options are what any individual with $50,000 can access. Index funds, ETFs, maybe some individual stocks, public markets, the same options available to everyone. When you have $500,000, new doors open slightly. Some private funds will talk to you. Some real estate syndicates will take your call. When you have $5 million, you get invited into rooms that the $50,000 person doesn't know exist. In those rooms, opportunities are discussed that never get advertised, a real estate fund being assembled, a private company raising its next round before going public, a deal that returns 22% annually for 7 years, because the people in the room got in before anyone else had the chance. These are not illegal. They're not secret in the way secrets are hidden. They're exclusive in the way that altitude is exclusive. If you're not at the elevation, the geography just looks different from where you are. The network isn't just who you know, it's what you know early. It's which calls you get, which decks land in your inbox, which conversations happen at the end of a dinner when most people have already left and someone leans over and says you should talk to so-and-so. You get into those rooms by being valuable in the rooms just below them, consistently, for years, without demanding immediate access to the room above. That's how the network becomes the net worth. And it doesn't start with connections. It starts with competence that someone wants close to them. You already have more of that than you think. The question is whether you're putting it in the right rooms. Secret 5. Assets make money while you sleep. Income stops the moment you do. There are 2 ways to make money. You trade your time for it, or you own something that makes it without your involvement. A paycheck is the first model. You show up, you work, you get paid. The moment you stop showing up, the money stops. A rental property is the second model. You own it. Someone pays you monthly to live in it. The income arrives whether you're watching or not. An index fund is the second model. The companies in it are working, generating revenue, growing in value. You hold a fraction of all of them. You don't do anything. The value moves. A business that runs without you is the second model. Systems, employees, processes. It produces without your presence. The goal of the wealthy is not to trade more time for more money. The goal is to own more things that generate money without their time. This is not passive income as it gets described in ads on the internet. That version is a fantasy designed to sell you a course. The real version is slow. It requires capital. It requires patience. It requires years of the first model, the trading time for money model, before the second model becomes possible. But here's what you weren't taught. You can start the second model on the same day you start the first one. The $150 automatic transfer into an index fund that you set up the week you got your first real job. That's the second model. Running quietly, growing without your involvement, building compounding momentum every month, through the birthday dinners and the parking lot Mondays and the Tuesday morning stand-ups, through all of it, without asking anything from you. Marcus never started the second model. He's still trading time for money and spending what the time earns. Currently, roughly 58% of Americans own no investments of any kind outside of a checking or savings account. Not because they can't start, because nobody explained what starting actually meant. $50 a month into an index fund is the second model running. It's not going to change your life next month. It will change it in ways you won't be able to see until you look back. That's the fifth thing. Secret 6. Time is the only thing that cannot be bought back at any price. Here's a math problem nobody gave you. 2 people, same job, same salary, $52,000 a year starting at 22. Person A starts investing $300 a month at 22, stops at 32, never adds another dollar, lets it compound at 7% until 65. Person B waits, starts investing $300 a month at 32, keeps going every single month until 65, never misses a payment. Person A invested for 10 years. Person B invested for 33 years. At 65, Person A has more money, not a little more, meaningfully more, because Person A had 10 years that Person B will never get back. Compounding is ruthless about time. It rewards early and it does not give refunds. This is the one secret that makes all the other secrets more urgent. The tax code trick is more valuable at 25 than at 45. The asset versus income distinction is more powerful started at 22 than at 35. The network takes years to build and years to return on. Start late and you run out of runway before the returns arrive. Time is the input you cannot purchase. You can buy more money. You can hire more talent. You can acquire more assets. You cannot buy back a year you didn't invest. Every year you wait is a year compounding doesn't run. That's not a warning. That's just the math. And the math doesn't care how good your reasons were for waiting. The good news is you're reading this now, not 10 years from now. Now counts. Secret 7. Rich people don't think about money the way you were taught to. Everything you were taught about money was about scarcity. Be careful. Don't overspend. Save for a rainy day. Don't live beyond your means. Money doesn't grow on trees. All of those things are true. None of them are the operating system of wealth. The operating system of wealth is allocation, not scarcity, allocation. Every dollar that comes in is immediately assigned a job. This percentage goes to future me. This percentage goes to present life. This percentage goes to the tax-advantaged accounts. This percentage goes to the asset column. The assignment happens before the spending decisions, not after. Most people save whatever is left. Whatever is left is usually nothing. The wealthy flip the order. The future self gets paid first. Everything else works around what remains. You've heard this before, probably more than once. The part you weren't told is why it actually works. It works because the spending adjusts to whatever is available. Human beings are extraordinarily good at living on what they have. If you have $3,200 available after investing, you live on $3,200. If you had $3,500 available, you would live on $3,500. You wouldn't be meaningfully happier. You'd just have a slightly different baseline that felt exactly like the current one within 6 weeks. That's the psychology underneath the math. The spending fills the container. Make the container smaller on the front end and the spending adjusts without catastrophe. The life is essentially the same. The future is completely different. That's not discipline. It's architecture. Rich people don't have more self-control than you. They've built systems that make self-control irrelevant. The automatic transfer that happens before you wake up. The 401k contribution that comes out before you see the check. The Roth IRA set to fund on the 2nd of every month 2 days after the paycheck lands. The system runs. You live on what's left. The architecture does the work that willpower can't. Currently, the average American household saves 3.6 cents of every dollar they earn. Not because they're undisciplined, Because the system is set up to capture the spending first and leave the saving for whatever remains. Flip the system. The rest follows. That's the seventh thing. Here's what nobody told you. The rules aren't hidden. They're not in a vault somewhere. They're not whispered at country clubs between people in blazers who don't want you to know. They're just not taught. Not in school, not in most families, not in the conversations you grew up around, which were mostly about getting by, about the month, about the bill, about the number in the account on a Tuesday night before the weekend. You learned what the people around you knew, and what the people around you knew was how to survive the month. That's not a failure. That's just where the information stopped. The rules exist above that level. Income is not the score. Net worth is the score. Every dollar is a decision about future options, not current comfort. The tax code was written for owners. You can access parts of it right now. The network is built slowly, through competence, before it becomes the net worth. Assets make money while you sleep. Income stops when you do. Both can run simultaneously starting today. Time is the only input that cannot be recovered at any price. Allocation before spending. The system does what the willpower can't. None of this is complicated. Some of it will take years. All of it starts with the same thing, the decision to operate on a different set of rules than the ones you were handed. You're still in the same building as Marcus, same hallway, same coffee machine, same Thursday stand-ups where someone talks for 20 minutes about something that could have been an email. From the outside, almost nothing has changed, but something is running underneath it that Marcus can't see. A transfer that cleared this morning. A compound curve that doesn't look like anything yet but is building towards something you won't fully see until you look back. The $94,000 and the $67,000 are not the whole story. They never were. The score that matters isn't on anyone's paycheck. If nobody taught you this growing up, subscribe. Because this channel exists for exactly that reason. What the school didn't cover, what the family conversation didn't reach, what you're figuring out now, later than you wish, but earlier than you think. Drop in the comments which one of these landed differently than you expected. The people who are honest in the comments today are the ones who come back in 2 years to tell you what changed. New video every week. See you in the next one.